Now, let's move into another GOAT debate. Because Willie Mays would definitely be in the running for the greatest baseball player of all time.
Sure.
Without question. This, Hoodie was funny this morning. Hoodie and Cap, I heard them, I think it was the start of the 9 o'clock hour they were talking about this. And Hoodie goes, man, there's 3 things that I just feel like I've talked about way too much. 3 topics in 30-plus years in this town, in this business. And I'm sick of it, but somehow we always get sucked into it. Somehow we always get sucked in. And it was, they were funny. It was Pete Rose in the hall. Frank Thomas doesn't smile. It was funny. The White Sox are no good because the neighborhood's dangerous and Frank Thomas doesn't smile. And Michael and LeBron. I don't know that this revs it up all that much, but they played a clip from over the weekend. JJ Redick was on Shaq's podcast. Take a listen.
The only thing I don't like about the conversation is they don't put my boy's name in it. If you're going to be throwing names around, you got to have my boy's name in it. That's like saying, what are the best luxury cars out there, Lexus or a Beamer? You got to put the Mercedes in there, too. Mike, LeBron, or Kobe, now y'all debate.
I refuse to get into the GOAT debate. I don't care. They didn't play against each other. What makes him great is the fact that he's done it now for 21 years at the highest level. Yeah, LeBron's never averaged 35 in a year. Guess what? He's averaged 25 or more for 20 straight years. We're nitpicking. A lot of times we're comparing eras. Like, I'll say this with Michael Jordan, and I don't mean this to be controversial. Michael Jordan, during his heyday, 6 teams were added to the NBA. There were 90 players added to the NBA. Does that not water down? I'm not talking playoffs, by the way. No chance we're talking playoffs. You're not telling me that the league for a little bit is going to be a little watered down?
What do you think?
Well, does that mean the league's watered down? Absolutely, for sure, right now during all of LeBron's career?
Or has never been watered down at any moment during LeBron's long career?
Well, I mean, it's already been watered down because if you're watering down the process, you're telling me there weren't enough good players, weren't international players coming over to make up for that? If you didn't have the skill in America, international players were coming over with the skill.
There is, well, here's one. There is definitely more internet. There's more skill in the game now just because, this is why it's hard to compare eras, just because the natural evolution of things. You've opened up the pool to Europe and the rest of the world, where that wasn't, Michael didn't play against the best international players because it wasn't a thing. They became popular because of Michael.
I mean, it was Marcellinus was here. Detlef Schrempf was here.
Drazen was here.
The big fella was here. Sabonis.
Yeah, later, though.
Again, I'm just saying they were here, right? They were starting to come over.
Yeah.
So
Drazen.
He did have to deal with a part of that as he was moving forward. I don't buy the watering down of the league is what I'm telling you. I don't buy that because you added 6
when you
teams
expand
and you added 72 players to the league that you watered down the league. I don't buy that.
There were still a lot of great players in Michael's prime.
And let's not forget that a lot of those San Antonio guys were here also still when Michael was still playing.
Who? San Antonio guys?
The internet. Dirk Nowitzki from Dallas was here, all right?
Yeah, but Dirk's rookie year was like 2002, I think.
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
I disagree with you wholeheartedly.
No, because I covered the league when Dirk was young. Dirk didn't play in the 90s.
I disagree with you.
Dirk's rookie year was 99. All right, you're right.
Okay.
Dirk's rookie year was 99.
Why do you fight me all the time?
He played 24 games. He only played 24 games. Dirk became a starter in 2000. Yeah. But that's still post-Michael. I mean, Michael's last year was 98. I'm not counting Washington. Washington.
Oh, I see how you're working.
Well, Michael was...
I see how you're working.
Michael wasn't the best player in the league when he was in Washington. I mean...
Who else was in Boston? They had some international players in Boston. Dino Raja played for Boston. Yeah. So the point is there were players starting to come over. I think that's a legitimate point.
Well, certainly by the end of the 90s, there were a ton because basketball blossomed over there so much.
I mean, and you could talk about when did the draft go from 4 rounds to 2 rounds?
I don't remember exactly.
Remember there were multiple rounds? Yeah,
remember.
And they said, okay, we don't need all that. We'll figure it out.
There definitely
we'll go
were
2
more
rounds. That way we're not guaranteeing people money.
Yeah. Look, the people get all worked up over it. These are just opinions and, like, very subjective things. There's really no way to prove it. Like,
there's no way to prove it.
There's really no way to prove who, like, the best of all time is.
Michael was the best of all time. There's no way to prove it, but let's face it, Michael is the best of all time, period.
We're very biased, and so we do believe that. You got to admit that you've got
I
a
will
little
agree.
bit of
I'll
bias.
agree to one thing though.
little bit
LeBron
of
James
bias.
is the Frank Gore of the NBA.
The Frank Gore of the NBA. Why? Because he's got the 25.
Got all the counting stats you want.
He's a lot better than Frank Gore.
Because of his longevity, all the counting stats you want. But he's the Frank Gore of the NBA.
It's a little disrespectful.
I don't think it is.
Disrespectful.
I don't think it is.
I think it's very much.
Frank
Gore might not
Frank
make
Gore's
the Hall
got
of Fame.
15,000. He's got 15,000 yards.
Frank Gore might not make the Hall
Rushing.
of Fame. I mean, LeBron James is probably the second best player ever. So I think that's a little.
I like the way you said
disrespectful.
probably because now you're allowing Kobe or Lou Alcindor to get up there.
Thank you.
Carmen, did you see the other piece of that conversation with Redick and Shaq about Jordan that kind of went viral?
no, what was
Shaq
it?
was talking about, like, JJ asked, what was it like playing against Michael Jordan? And Shaq said something to the effect of, well, you saw it on TV and you're like, that can't be real. And then when you got on the court and you like went to block his shot and he just moved around you in the air and did whatever he wanted, he was like, he's God.
That's pretty awesome.
You see it on TV and you see the highlights, like it can't be that good. And then he was like, when you're out there with him, he was doing stuff that none of us could do.
He was that good.
He was that good.
Yeah, that is
Shaq
pretty
was
great.
very complimentary about Jordan.
I'm sure he was. And again, I get it that we all are going to defend Michael, and we should. I mean, you know, we have a very specific and important reason to defend like the legacy because he was a Bull, and we love the Bulls, and it was great. It was the greatest era of basketball that we've ever got to experience. It's, you know, he's probably the best, most compelling athlete, or certainly one of them of the last 100 years, and it happened here. And so we're going to be, you know, like to the bitter end, we're going to defend him. There's really no way to prove it. There's no way to prove that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is not the best player of all time. Like Jurko said, you really can't
He was
prove
dominant.
it.
He was dominant.
And if you look at his first 10 years in the league, yeah, you might look at like or you know, a guy who never gets talked about enough because the numbers like aren't as gaudy or as flashy. But like, go look at Tim Duncan's first 9 years in the league when he won 4 titles, and he was the fulcrum on offense and defense. There was never a moment where he wasn't one of the most important offensive and defensive players in the league for like a decade.
Is 4 less than 6?
Yes.
I believe it is, right?
Yes.
So the discussion then ends there and now. Did Michael Jordan ever lose a championship game?
He did
when
not.
he got to the NBA Finals? Did he ever lose? When he made it to the NBA Finals 6 times.
He did not.
Did he lose? No.
Never went to a game 7 in the finals.
Thank you.
You realize
That's
that?
why I love Game 7 stats when they show Game 7 stats.
Yeah, I know.
And I go, listen, Jordan didn't go to the 7th game.
Not in the finals.
Yeah, or go to a lot of the things. And how many 7 games did he go to in the series that he had?
There was one against Indiana. There was a game 7. Which one?
The Knicks. I
93
think it was
against
the
the
Knicks.
Knicks. 93 against the Knicks. There was one against Indiana. There were a couple of game 5s, like game 5 in Cleveland. There were a couple of game 5s
Again,
against Cleveland, but not many.
They go to Game 7 stats is what I'm trying to tell you.
Right.
And listen, if you had a bevy of Game 7s because your team wasn't as dominated as, say, the individual player was, then your Game 7 stats might look gaudy. Michael Jordan's Game 7 stats don't look gaudy. Do you know why?
Not a lot of them.
There weren't a lot of Game 7 stats because he's too busy kicking ass on the wild side.
there's only like-
That's what he was doing.
I could be very wrong on this. I'm just in the top of my head. Like, I'm only picturing, like right now, Jurko,
Yeah.
like 3 games. I won't go with the shorter series. Back then, the opening rounds used to be,
Yeah.
I won't go with those. Game 7. I'm only thinking of 3 in my mind. Could that be? There's got to be some more that I'm missing.
Well, Carm, I don't know exactly. I mean, I can't sit here and tell you. I'm sure somebody can do a quick search of that
I'm gonna
and give
look.
us exactly how many Game 7s Michael Jordan played in.
Not a lot, Jurko.
But when they go to that stat, I laugh.
And again, the first round when he played was a best of 5, in fairness.
right.
So,
Well, that's fine. The point is still Game 7 stats.
yeah. I'm just trying to think, like,
I mean, he just didn't have a lot of them because he didn't play in a lot of them. So when they go to that, I always find that comical also.
so there was the game 7 that we remember in 90 against, or this is the 3 I'm thinking of are Detroit, the Knicks, and the Pacers, Jurko. So 1990, they lost in game 7 to Detroit. And then I think it was 93.
93.
Oh, no, it was 92 was the series against the Knicks. They went to 7
Okay.
in the conference semis. They won that one, of course, in 92. So we had the year wrong, Jurko. It wasn't 93. It was 92.
Okay, fine. It was 92.
Then there's
I was trying to think, how many finals 0? Then what's Kobe's record in the finals?
And
Now,
then 98. There's 3, dude.
3.
Played in 3 Game
Thank
7.
you.
98 against the Pacers.
How many finals? What is his finals record? LeBron James.
LeBron is 4-6.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeesh. Now, as credit, all the credit in the world goes to him. He went to 10 finals, right?
Yes.
10 finals.
10 finals.
Yee.
It's a lot of finals.
Wow. 4-6. Yee.
But you still can't prove it. We can just.
I can do what I'm doing right now, going to 4-6.
I'll tell you, one guy that's in the running for that is the guy on that podcast, and it sure is, you know what, isn't JJ Redick. But he's another one that's in the running for that. We'll do the lunch rush coming up next.